I started off with my bachelor. So when I went further up in my CCA, trying to get certified, I decided I have to go and do my bachelor's, because that way I'll be able to understand fully this accounting world.
This video is proudly sponsored by Chapman University's Archie Rose College of Business and Economics, located in beautiful sunny Southern California. Are you thinking about pursuing a master's in accounting? Chapman's MSA program is tailored for ambitious professionals like you. With intimate class size and a collaborative atmosphere, you will receive personalized attention from world-class faculty who bring extensive industry expertise to the classroom. Enhance your accounting skills, fulfill CPA license requirements, and elevate your career with Chapman's flexible MSA program. Discover more and apply today at chapman.edu/MSA. Precious, thank you so much for being on my podcast today. How are you?
I'm good. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you. Today we have a special guest. Precious is a senior tax specialist at Lido Tax LLC. Precious, before we start the interview, can you introduce a little bit about yourself?
Right. So, yes, my name is Precious. Kind of a jovial person. I love traveling, meeting new people, socializing, learning new stuff, and just kind of going out and about and above in doing things. I'm kind of that kind of a person, hardworking, and I never stop learning.
Well, I think it's a typical accountant that
Yes.
we love planning and we love playing. We work hard and we play hard at the same time.
That's correct. That's me. I play hard, I work hard, and I learn hard at the same time.
Yep, I absolutely agree with you about that. And you mentioned that you live in Palm Springs, right? How hot it is now.
Well, right now it's beautiful. It kind of, I think the weather right now is about in the 30s, maybe 40s, which is brilliant. But you don't want to come to Palm Springs in the summer. That's for sure. It's very hot. Yeah, because when I first came down to in Palm, started living in Palm Springs, it was August, summer of 2017. It was a shocking experience for me when I got here. I was thinking, do people live here? Because the temperatures were like 120, 121, that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's kind of hot around summer period. And the summer period is about, I think, 3 months. So it starts getting hot. Maybe about more than 3 months, because it starts getting hot around end of April. So you have the whole May, June, July, August. Yes, about 4 months of the heat. But now it's quite, it's nice. The weather is calm. It's spring-like weather.
Oh,
very beautiful.
Yeah, yes. Enjoy this weather before it's getting hot again.
Sure, I'm trying to do my walks and my put in my running and walks before the heat comes back. Yeah.
Yep. And we have Precious on our podcast today to discuss about your CPA journey, Precious. So I'm just wondering at the very beginning, when you start in college, why did you go with accounting major, not with any other major?
That's a good question. And for me, accounting really, I stumbled on it by chance. I never set myself out to become an accountant in the first place, right? So my education background is from England. I qualified in England before I moved to here, so that's a story for another time, I believe. But over there, I started off wanting to become an IT professional, right? So I started on the course to be that. But during the course, one of the modules on the course was to do with accounting principles. But obviously, you have to know something in the business world to be any profession. So it was during my interactions with my business courses or my accounting courses that I had that spark about accounting, because it was fascinating to me how you can use numbers to make decisions, how you can predict results by using numbers. It was very fascinating for me. So I decided to pursue that further. And to do that, I went on, and like I said, this is back in England. So over there, we don't have CPA profession. They have what they call ACCA, which is the Association of Certified Chartered Accountants. And then they have CIMA, which is the Chartered Institute of Management Accounting. So those are the kind of there's another one called SCA. There are some, but these are the major ones. So when I, stumbled on the accounting and started loving it, the next step for me was like, how do I pursue this? Because the time I was doing the IT course, the accounting session was just a small module, and maybe you call it a minor over here, I'm not sure. But so I was like, how do I get myself deeper into this to understand it more? It was fascinating to me. So I went on and joined the SCCA and started studying towards becoming a certified accountant.
Wow.
So with the SCCA, it's kind of a very long journey. It's about 15 modules. I don't know, maybe 16, but now I don't know. So, but you have like the foundation modules, which are about 9 of them, and then you move into the professional modules. So I started with the foundation modules. I said, oh, well, I'm going to dump my IT business and let me get into this accounting and see what I have to get out of it. Because I discovered quickly that I was very good at numbers, and I was finding satisfaction in getting the results after getting all the numbers together and get myself the results and being able to interpret those results. I wanted to go deeper into the accounting, education to be able to put myself abreast. So that's how I started the ACCA journey, and sat a few exams, and I think I went on up until like F6, the modules foundation 6, and still at the time I found myself working in an accounting world. Then I was working with charitable organizations. I did volunteer with Macmillan Cancer Research, which is based in London. That's one of the big cancer researchers. So I volunteered with them in the accounting department just for me to kind of understand how, we can put these numbers in a real world and see how that works in the real world situation. But I started with a charitable organizations. So I worked there as a part qualified volunteer. I was a part qualified at the time. And then it was during that same period, I decided I have to go and do this at a degree level. So I went, yes, that's right.
Yeah, wow. And so when you got the master degree, you were still in London at that time.
That's correct. So I started off with my bachelor. So when I went further up in my SCCA, trying to get certified, I decided I have to go and do my bachelor's, because that way I'll be able to understand fully, this accounting world, right? So I went on and started studying accounting and finance from the University of West London. That's based in London. So I did that course. I finished it, and then I became more curious about the accounting world, because it was very interesting, like how much opportunities are out there when you come out as an accountant. I know there are so many other opportunities with other professions, but with accounting, I remember my professor telling us when I was in my final year of my accounting and finance, my bachelor's degree, my professor was saying to us that the good thing with accounting is that whether the economy is bad or good, they'll still need accountants, right? So you'll be the last person to switch off the bulb in the room, right? When everyone is coming, like they're closing down the company, they will need accountants to be there, tied up everything, and be the last one to leave the room. So that's
the job security that is guaranteed.
That's correct. So so that's how I quickly finished my my bachelor's, and before I could sit back and carry on working full time, I went on to do my master's. And this time around, it was master's in accounting and management, quite different, because this is where numbers, kind of you use your numbers to plan, to advise, to get into consultancy and all stuff of like that. So that's what my master's program was mainly about, like, managing resources. And that I did that from a different college, that was Queen Mary, University of London. So that's one of the top, if I can brag a little bit, that's one of the top universities in London.
That's fine to me, because to get in those top schools, you probably have to work a lot. I have good scores, and then have those good exam scores, and so why not?
That's right.
That's what you achieve. So it's fun to talk about it.
That's right.
Yeah, and so when I look at your career path, it looked like after you graduate from Queen Mary University of London, you moved to US and work at H&R Block as tax associate.
That's right. So this is when you plan things in life, sometimes they don't work the way you plan. That's unfortunate, right? So my plan at the time was like, well, I'll go ahead and do my master's degree, and then I'll get into consultancy, because that was my plan at the time. But life happened, right? So my husband got a job here because he's into pharmaceutical research, so he moves around quite a bit. So he stumbled here. He found himself in Palm Springs, and he loved the place. So one time he came back home and told every one of us back in 2017 that, hey guys, we have to pack our bags. I think we are going to Palm Springs. So it was exciting for the kids, but not for me, because to me it was like a diversion of career, because I was thinking, what am I going to be doing in Palm Springs? I don't know anyone in Palm Springs, and this is America, and things over there work differently. So I tried to kind of hustle, but it doesn't work sometimes when you do that. So anyway, I found myself here, and then what next? So this is when I'm going to bring up one individual who pushed me and helped me to kind of be here today as soon as I landed, right? So when I came over here, I knew nobody. And I at the time, I wasn't even aware what CPAs do. What is a CPA? I never knew what CPA is. Like I said, across the pond, as they call it, tax professionals there, I mean, accountants, they either get an ACCA qualification, a CIMA, ACA, but there's no CPA over there. So when I came here, I knew nothing about CPA, so I was just wondering. And Palm Springs, it's a smaller city. It's not like Los Angeles or San Francisco where you can get yourself quickly and start working for other organizations. And I remember just before I moved, I had interviews when I was still doing my master's degree, because I was planning to go into consultancy. So I had interviews with big fours, hoping to get me on board and start doing consulting. And one of the big fours actually offered me a job. But when I told them I was coming over here, they said, "Oh well, Southern California, which part? Because we have offices down there, so maybe we can connect you." But when I said Palm Springs, and they looked, I think the nearest offices is at either San Diego or Los Angeles, and they were like, "Are you ready to be like commuting for 2 hours every day, or maybe 3 hours?" And I said, "No, I don't think so." So now I came here, and then that's when my neighbor. And this is like my neighbor, literally, like we share this, like the fence, right? She happens to be one of the top CPAs in the country.
He knew.
Yes. So you see how things are like. I don't know. I'm a religious person, so to me, it's like God has answered my prayer, right? I came here, and then someone who is really so involved in organizations, very vested, like very professional, very experienced CPA living next door to me. So she walked up to me when we came in. I mean, she walked up to us to welcome us to the neighborhood. And then during our conversations, and she was asking me what I do, what did I do in England before now, and I told her my story, and she went, "Oh, okay, I'm an accountant too." And I said, "Wait, what? You're an accountant?" And she said, "Yes, I'm a CPA." And I said, "What's that?"
Yeah, what about that before?
Yes,
So funny.
yes. Like, what is that? So then, I mean, we then started interacting. She invited me a few times to a place for coffee, and she then started like telling me what CPAs do. Okay, and she then told me about the CalCPA Foundation, because at the time I think she just finished being the president for the CalCPA San Diego chapter. Her name is Melody Thornton.
Oh.
Melody Thornton. So I think she just finished, or she was still a president for the CalCPA San Diego chapter, one of the two. But she told me about the CalCPA in our living room. We were over a cup of coffee, and she was telling me this is the way forward, Precious, over here. You have to join the CalCPA. And then from there, you will meet people who will lead the way for you. And then you will learn more about what a CPA does and what it takes to become one. If it interests you, this is what I do. So she started telling me, because she's specialized in taxes and she's been doing that for a long time. She's been a partner in a lot of big firms. So she talked to me about tax, and then she's the one who encouraged me to start learning taxes from H&R Block, because she told me the only way you would learn how to understand the tax code if you have no idea is to start from the basics. Because mind you, I was moving here without knowing anything about the tax code. I was so naive. I never even knew what a 1040 was. At a time, if someone came to me and said, "What is a 1040?" I was like, "Wait, what? What's that?" So, and then that's how, she even gave me a link. Well, she went online and gave me a link to the HR Block online course. Online portal where I could register to do a course with them. That's where I started my journey to get into the tax world. And I went in there, and this is a funny bit, because when the first time I attended that class, it was really funny. It was, when I look back, it's really funny. I raised my hand one time because the tutor, the teacher was talking, assuming everyone knows the terms that she was using, right? She was like, a 1099, you do this, a W-2. To me, all those were strange things, right? So I was like, no, I kept myself quiet for a while for fear of being laughed at. That's another thing. If you want to learn, don't be shy to speak up, because when you're corrected, you never forget that.
That's so true. Yeah, you have to raise your hands. You have to ask the question, and you learn from it as well. But I would love to see. So what's next after you raise your hand and ask question? I
was asking what a W-2 was. Yes. And I said, "Excuse me, what is a W-2?" Because she went on and on about talking about the codes, W-2 codes, and code W, code D, 12D. And I was thinking, what's all that? So it was becoming more and more overwhelming for me. And I said to myself, no, I'm going to have to raise my hand and ask and find out what this is. So I raised my hand and I said, "Excuse me, ma'am, but what is a W-2? And everyone looked at me. It's like, don't you have a job? Yes. And then
W-2, and then have W-3, and have W-4, and have W-9. And so it could be confusing for new people.
That's right. That's right.
That's understandable. I don't see anything wrong with that at all if it's new to you.
Yes. So, yes. So and then it was funny because the tutor didn't find it funny, actually. She walked up to me, and I think she immediately realized that, well, she took everything for granted. She probably thought everybody knew what she was talking about. So she came, which is one thing I appreciated, because she came to my desk and leaned over and kind of explained that to me and said, "Oh, Precious, I forgot you are coming from a different background, right? Here in the US, we have W-2, W-3, W-4, W-9, and this is what, the difference." And these, you can go and read about the notes. And then we have, for sources of income, people have different ways of reporting them. Some people report these, the source of income on 1099. I was like, what is that? Okay. Oh, okay. So she went on details and explaining. So that's the kind of humble beginning, if I would want to say, I came from. And this is why I'm not shy talking about that, the H&R Block experience, and talking about how I was asking those questions, because then it dawned at me, and I remembered very well, like one of my professors, again, when I did my first degree in accounting, the same one who was talking about the light bulb and stuff, he said again about do not despise the humble beginnings, right? Yeah. So don't despise that, because you can learn something from it. Someone else can learn something from it. So because of what I learned from how I interacted with my short course in H&R Block, I use that to advise people in my situation. For example, there are people who went to school here, but they know nothing about taxes. And I'll say to them, well, if you want to have hands-on experience, you can start.
H&R Block.
Yes, because after the course, it's interesting because after the course, they kind of like send you out to work, right? So as soon as I finished the 3 months course, we did the exam. There's a big exam, I think about 400 questions you have to do afterwards. You pass that exam and then you start working with the clients. And that's when things started like making sense from the, like now I was transitioning from learning theories and applying those theories into practice.
I would say that Precious, you just so brave, traveling all the way from London to US, didn't know anyone. At least you still know the language, but didn't know anyone. And then it's just so lucky that it happened. Your neighbor is one of the best CPAs in the state, and lead you to become the CPA. It's just so crazy, the connection, how it could lead you. You don't have to like, oh, I have to lean on connection with the firms, with other professionals. People next door could just lead you to someone. That's just amazing. And also, I see that the person at H&R Block is just so patient to you to explain to you about W-2, about 1099s. So you never know. Those people at your earlier career, it will help you so much to build a strong foundation for you to advance in the future. And talking about being humble at the early career, I just want to share a funny story that I have as well. That I came from Vietnam, so I was born and raised in Vietnam. I came to US for college.
Right.
So I didn't go to like fancy, expensive, well-known college in US. I went to a very small, unknown college in a very small town in Arkansas.
Oh.
So people are like, you travel half of the earth from Vietnam to US to go to Arkansas?
I can resonate. Yeah.
Because my English was not great. I had to learn so much. I had to improve my English so much. And I was kind of shy at that time. So if I threw myself to a big town, big city, I may never wanted to stay in US. I'm done. I just want to go back to Vietnam. But then after I graduated, I think it's not too bad. And then actually when I moved from Arkansas to California, that's when I was shocked. I was like, oh my God, this is what it look like.
That's funny.
So yes, a very small starting point, but it doesn't mean that it's going to set you up to who you are in the future. It will help you and improve and push you to have a better future.
That's right.
That you never know. You never know.
That's right.
So you work at H&R for 1 year. It's probably like your adventurous year at H&R.
That's right. It was. It was full of adventure because my first tax season working for them, that was my first tax season in this country, right? Ever. So, and then I was presented with a client in front of me, right? So it was time for me to put all my theory I learned into practice right in front of the client, right? So the way I don't know if you are familiar with them, but the H&R Block setup is the client will be in front of you. You interview the client about their tax story. You do the input and prepare your taxes as they're telling you the story, right? And at the same time, you have to remember what you have to do, right? And I have to be remembering what's a W-2. It was in my head. I'm like, when you present to me a W-2, I would know that okay, this is the source of income where it's coming from, and it was funny, and I found it very interesting as well, like listening to people's tax story, right? So you have to ask people, tell you all sorts of stories about their finances. They trust you, right, to like advise them about their finances. Even sometimes they tell you about their personal lives. So sometimes they'll tell you something that's even not supposed to be part of what they're supposed to tell you because they feel like they need to talk to someone. That's how comfortable they feel like when they're talking to the tax professional. Even during that interaction, this is why I was thinking at the back of my mind as I was doing all those tax preparation. And I'm thinking, wow, so I think I need to see how I can quickly become that CPA my neighbor was talking about, because I think that would then put me in a position to advise these kind of clients better. Because at the time I was talking to them, I had limited knowledge, in the sense that I was new here. The only knowledge I had is from the books by reading what, I was studying with H&R Block, and by listening to the story, what they are telling me, and then looking at the computer and seeing how I can use that information using the tax law and prepare their taxes. So I was very fascinated, and I think that's pushed me to start doing the CPA exam, because that's the first time I worked in the H&R Block. That's the year I registered to start studying for the CPA.
Sorry about that.
That's fine.
Yeah. So you talk about the CPA exam. Oh, that's going to be an interesting topic because it's not easy to pass all 4 sections of the CPA exam. So I would love to hear about your experience from how did you study for the CPA exam? How did you overcome the challenge? Did you pass all 4 sections in the first try? Tell me everything. It's so fascinating.
I'm very, very excited to share my story about that too. I'll be looking for an opportunity like this, Rosey, so I can share my story, because that's another side of my story that's very fascinating and very interesting. But before I started, the journey of this, becoming a CP, I mentioned earlier about the interactions I had with my neighbor who was a CPA, right? So the first time I had interactions with CPA, CalCPA, before I started applying to become a CPA, was when she sent me an email. She forwarded me an email from the CalCPA Inland Empire chapter. They were holding students' events up in San Bernardino back in 2019, I believe that was. And I remember her saying to me, Precious, if you want to learn more about how it is to become a CPA and what you need to do to become one, I would love you to go to this event. I would like you to register. And when you arrive, I would like you to meet certain people, right? And then talk to them. She did that in a light when she said, and I need to see the pictures to prove that you went, right? And I said, oh.
With mentor.
Yes. And I said, oh, well, that's a bit steep, but I'm going to try. I'll try. And so I registered for the student night, and I drove up there. It's about an hour and a half. I walked into the room full of people. I knew no one. And there were lots of students and lots of professionals as well. So I walked in the room and I was greeted by a lovely lady with a lovely smile. And she said to me, why is this your first time being here? Because obviously maybe she could tell my looks, because at that moment when I arrived, I was thinking, should I be here or should I just go back? But then I had an assignment to take pictures, right? So